Epic Film guys here at Sound Around. We're about to meet Ari Lehman, the first ever Jason Voorhees from the original Friday the 13th. It's going to be awesome. What is your favorite Friday the 13th kill of all time?
First one, Kevin Bacon, arrow through the throat.
Arrow through the throat. Why is that your favorite, I have to ask?
Why? Because I'm not a big Kevin Bacon fan, and I really like the way he goes down.
So wait, you're telling me that you don't like Flashdance? Really?
Not really.
I got it. It's got to be when Kevin Bacon got knocked off. I shit you not.
You're the second person to say that. Why is that your favorite? Do you have a reason?
Well, actually, I do like some of Bacon's films. It's just the fact that I rewatched all the films about a month ago, and the fact that I didn't realize, because last time I saw it, I was a kid, and I'm like, oh shit, there's Kevin Bacon, and just the fact that we see Kevin Bacon get knocked off.
Oh man, it's a tough call, but this was just so priceless. I loved it when Jason was on top of that roof in New York City, and he just punched the guy in the face. His head just popped right off.
The head in the dumpster, right? The head in the dumpster from Jason Takes Manhattan, right?
Yep, exactly. That was just priceless. Just hysterical. You know, as I grew older, you know, it just became progressively just more entertaining just to watch him kill people. You know, because I felt like he was just so original, you know? I mean, I like Michael Myers too, but I've only seen him use a butcher's knife and just crush people's heads. I mean, Jason, he's done it all.
What is your favorite Friday the 13th movie of all time?
Well, it'd have to be between the first and the second, but I'm going to go with the second one because that's the first time Jason appears besides being a kid. So I'd have to go with the second one, man.
So you're a fan of Sackhead overall wearing Jason. He's got a sack on his head.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's got the Michael Myers thing going a little bit.
Well, it's the first one, which I'm not really that big of a fan. I'm here not for me, but for my friend Neil Coletta to get this poster signed so that he can have one, since he wasn't able to be here tonight.
So you're in line for your friend, about to meet Jason Voorhees. Good question I have for you. If you're out in the woods and Jason is chasing you, and he's got a machete, and he's about to kill one of you, would you take a slash in your leg, or your back, or your arm for your friend, or would you let him get it and he'd be done?
Well, I would do my best to defend my own self, but yeah, I'd let my friend go, most definitely.
You'd let him die, get slashed apart, and...
No, I mean let him go, like as in he can run away.
Oh, see, so...
And I'll stay there and deal with Jason.
So you take the kill while your friend lives?
Well, I don't know if I would get killed, but I guess that's...
Jason always kills. He never lets you live, man. It's got to be a kill. It's one or the other.
Well, death comes to us all, and I guess we have to face that somehow or another.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen. This man would take death for his friend from Jason Voorhees. Who is your personal favorite Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise?
I'm going to go with Richard from the second and third film. And I like the third film the most because it was, you know, not only shot in 3D when it was released out, but the soundtrack to it set a lot of presence and tone for the following, you know, horror genre films in general. You know, the musical beats and, of course, you know, a lot of blood splatter and just kind of overdoing certain things. So,
my favorite is Ted White. He was in Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. And I think he's my favorite because he really didn't want the job. He's a really nice guy, and that made him the creepiest. He was very hesitant about his role as Jason Voorhees, but you can see that penetrate through his character in it. So that's why, for me, Ted White is the ultimate Jason Voorhees. The famous raft scene where he comes up through with the machete, the actress, she was actually quite cold. He was afraid she was going to get hypothermia, and he demanded that the cast and crew pay closer attention to the kids on the set and stuff. So he never quite got the idea of why these beautiful kids are getting killed by my character and stuff, but he said he needed the money, so he took the job. But to me, that movie is just legendary, and Ted White's performance was specifically eye-catching, and for me as a kid, just scared the wits out of me. So it was great, just like more the home invasion thing before that ever became popular, him going into Tommy Jarvis's house and stuff, you know. I was the same age as Corey Feldman, so that really hit home for me. So,
tell me why you're excited to meet Jason.
Because he's really cool, and I watched all his movies, and I'm really excited also to give Daddy and Mommy the artwork to give to him too.
This is Ari Lehman, the first Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, here at Sound Go Round with Justin from Epic Film Guys. What's going on, Justin?
Not much. I'm actually here to meet you. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm fantastic. It's been a marvelous evening. Look at this spectacular place. I mean, did you know you could get burger time here, just in case you're... Wow. But that's just one of the many things that's here at Sound Go Round. And just a wonderful group of people from up in this part of New York State showed up to say hi to little Jason Voorhees. And it was very, very just fun.
Fun time. Just like the time that you had making the first Friday the 13th, right? I have to ask. And I'm sure all the fans have already heard it a million times, but what was your most memorable experience on the first Friday the 13th, the one that you did?
Well, I mean, certainly overall, it would be working with the great special effects master, Tom Savini. To be 14 and to work together with Tom, you know, just to see the kind of vision that he had and just very infectious kind of creativity and then of course learning about, okay, you know, being in his workshop where there were, you know, decapitated heads and severed limbs and all kinds of weaponry and all kinds of, you know, just everything. And he had the statue of Lugosi and Vincent Price and everybody, and Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney, of course, right there. It was just so much fun. And then that feeling like I had been let into the big boys club and seeing the way that the horror effects were done kind of was empowering for me, you know, as a little actor.
But if you had to pick a Jason Voorhees that you liked the most after you, who would you say your favorite Jason is aside from yourself?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know, I can't answer that question, but I will say that each Jason has brought something new to the character, and they are all of them are my dear friends, and they all did a great job. The two, you know, I'll give you that. The two films that I feel are very standout in the series are Part 4. I got to work with the great Ted White just 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Ted White, wow.
That wouldn't happen to be on the John C. Gritton fan film, would it be?
No. Oh, no. That would have been cool, but no, it was at Horror Hound Weekend. It was at the convention, and Ted. Okay, but the thing about standing there at the convention and watching Ted work. First of all, he's 88 years old, standing like a strong, like Paul Bunyan, you know, with full head of hair, big smile, booming voice. There 5 minutes before everybody else at the table, you know, and I was trying to be on time, and stayed there till the last minute, just shaking hands, and it's just amazing. I mean, this man was John Wayne's stunt double for 17 years. He was stunt coordinator on some of the most important World War II movies, which established a huge part of the American cinematic legacy. It's impossible to estimate the contribution of someone like Ted White, and such a dear person. You know, if I was to go on for hours, it wouldn't even equate what kind of a person he is. And to finally kind of, you know, he gave me a kind of nod of respect for kind of getting my act together, as it were, and that's a great feeling. So Ted White, Part 4, and then of course Part 7 I think is outstanding too, in the sense that it, as a film, makes an attempt to bring it all together. John B. Clear, the director, who's a good friend of mine too, he really did with the costume and the makeup, and he kind of really tried to make something comprehensive out of this thing. And of course, it was Kane Hodder's first Friday the 13th. But then again, you know, I think Derek Mears, the current Jason, does a great job. Yep. Ken Kersinger is a great friend of mine. He's a fantastic Jason. All of them, all the way down the line. Just absolutely spectacular actors and good people. And we got a new one coming people. We got a new TV series and a new feature film coming to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Friday the 13th. That's coming in 2015.
Wow, that's news to me. I'm glad you're telling me.
There's going to be a special announcement coming on Halloween, folks, so keep your ears open.
And you heard it from Jason himself here. It's happening. What is your personal favorite horror movie of all time?
Wow, well, there's so many great ones. I'd have to list a few. Going all the way back, I'm a big fan of German expressionist horror films, and I love Der Golem. That's like one of my favorite films. I love all F.W. Murnau stuff too. Faust is a big favorite of mine. But if the one standout film that I just love of all time is Night of the Hunter. Okay, bringing it up into the 50s, Night of the Hunter, starring Robert Mitchum, directed by Charles Lawton. To me, is a point of departure because it's a slasher film as opposed to a horror film. Here you have the roving preacher who's gone crazy and he's a serial killer. A very American theme, and it draws upon social commentary in a way that I feel later slasher films do too. Although it's subtle, it's not as direct as in some horror films like, let's say, zombie movies, where there's a direct social statement being made, like in Romero's film.
Right, of course.
But in slasher films, I think there's something being said about the banal, somewhat mundane world of the suburbs, or of, you know, being in a tourist place, or even maybe on a beach where Jaws might show up. And so, something is being said about us being a little sedentary and a little maybe too confident, and you know, I think that that all started right there with Night of the Hunter, starring Robert Mitchum, and Shelley Winters is in that movie. Treat yourself. Go watch Night of the Hunter.
But how did being Jason transcend you into music? We know that you've always loved music, but what made you want to take that step from being Jason Voorhees and then now I'm going to make some awesome music?
Well, indeed, I was already a musician when I was on the set of Friday the 13th, and I was studying jazz piano at that time. What we could say that Jason did was to give me a themology. Okay, I had gone off and I had studied jazz, and then I had studied world music and reggae music, playing in Africa and Europe and all over the world. But then when I realized there was this wonderful fan dedication to Jason, I said, wouldn't it be interesting to try to write some things along those lines? I went back and kind of drew upon my experience in college, where I was good friends with a band called Reagan Youth, and I would watch their shows, and Dave Insurgent, who used to bring me to see all these great bands, and he wanted to learn about jazz, and I wanted to learn about hardcore. So I started learning about Bad Brains and Dead Kennedys and all that good stuff. Now, when I got to Chicago, I met bands like Macabre, and they taught me about death metal. So really, I started to incorporate all of these darker sounds, still informed by my own musical journey, if you will. Right. And it's the open-heartedness and open-mindedness and the open ears of the fans that enabled me to make that transition and to actually create First Jason. And I must say that now that we've got our second album out, we've definitely defined our sound. So you got to come out and hear First Jason, or check us out at firstjason.com.
If you always on me,